Yo, what is going on, guys? Winner Kills here, and welcome to a brand new locals feature match with post commentary as per usual. Here we are in round 3 for the week, and we've actually got yours truly on the left piling the Rikka Sun Avalon deck versus my friend Colin on the right, aka C Goody, playing a Spright Frog deck. So, I mean, the Spright matchup tends to be a pretty bread and butter matchup for the Rikka deck. Tends to have a pretty good matchup anyways, especially if the deck can set up going first, right? Sheet is a hell of a card against Spright, and just all the spot removal that the deck has to offer can give Spright a hard time when trying to get off the ground. So we're going to see my friend Colin win the die roll here. He does open up Deep Sea Diva into Jet to go ahead and search Smasher. So one already very strong form of interruption against the Rikka deck. The normal summon in some hands can be very vulnerable, not all the time. Of course, there is a great amount of play around to certain cards like that. And the only going second cards I have in hand right now are 2 DD Crows and a Dark Ruler. Now, that might sound really good going into the Spright board. DD Crow is fantastic for hitting Ronin and Elf targets in general. Like, really strong hand trap against the deck. It's not, like, super impactful like it is against Tier, because you can hit a lot of things in the Tier deck. But, I mean, Crow hits Ronin, which is really strong. And then Dark Ruler, right? Dark Ruler, you just slam it onto the field, into their board, and it tends to turn off a lot of interruptions. Although, this particular build here that we're seeing my friend Colin play, utilizing the Halka Fibrax, playing Deep Sea Diva, which I think is just like, honestly, if you're going to play pure Spright, I feel like playing Deep Sea Diva for the Halk line is just so strong. Like, inherently, you're setting yourself up a way to have interruptions through Dark Ruler. Like, you're searching a hand trap, and you're also getting Smashers. It's 2 interruptions through Dark Ruler. Very strong and very smart way to play the deck. But as I was saying, you know, I have these going second cards, but I don't really have any engine. I have 2 DD Crow, Dark Ruler, Carrot Weight, and Con. And that's just not going to be able to beat the field. Like, I have to draw, like, I don't even know what I could draw, honestly. Like, maybe, like, even drawing, like, Petal or Unexpected Die or 1-for-1, like, those cards aren't doing me anything, which is super unfortunate. They're like, this hand is just so poor, just not enough engine, and too many going second cards. I don't use the DD Crows here, and you're gonna see that happen, and I might as well explain this now, because people are like, oh yeah, DD Crow, why didn't you use the DD Crows? Well, it doesn't really matter whether I use the DD Crows or not, because the Dark Ruler is gonna take care of the totally awesome anyways, so I might as well just hold the DD Crows. If I do somehow get a chance to play, hold them, and try to stop them, like, stop him from getting follow-up with the DD Crow, like, or whatever his Toad add-backs might be, because, like, again, the Dark Ruler is going to take care of the Toad, and I can Crow the Toad if he tries to bring it back after he sends it to the grave for cost, use its effect at some point, even though it'll be negated. I draw Ash for turn, and that's just, like, the last thing I want to see into Toad, Smashers, Red, and Ash Blossom. Like, it's really bittersweet seeing the Dark Ruler as, like, the best card in the hand, and then only having Carrot Weight. Now, even if that Carrot Weight was a Primula, that's still getting hit by Smashers. It's just not ending well here, whatever. So I just Dark Ruler, and I'm just like thinking, is there anything else I can do here? Nope, definitely not. So we're going to go ahead and do the Scoop Ruler no more. Classic little 2-card combo right there. The classic Dark Ruler into Scoop. And yeah, we're into a game 2, guys. Shout out to Imperium Duelist. As always, check them out at the link below. Don't forget to use my discount code WinnerKills10 off at checkout to save 10% off your entire order and support the channel in the process. And if you guys are buying anything on TCG Player, please, again, do not forget to use the affiliate link I have for their site. If you guys shop and check out using said link, a small bit of the revenue from your purchase will go right back into the channel and helps out way more than you'd think. So getting back to the game here, I do go first, leading with a copy of Unexpected Die, Lone Fire, Glamour, and Double Solemn Judgment. Really strong opener here. I love opening up Unexpected Die plus a way to Petal. It's just really clean opening, because you can just, you know, Unexpected Die for Loki, and then you can normally your Petal, or in this case, Lone Fire it out to go ahead and search your Princess, and now you have a Monster Negate ready, like frame 1. So a lot of people tend to want to Valor or Ash, either Valor the Dryas or Imperm the Dryas, which again, you know, Princess doesn't do anything there, unfortunately. But a lot of people will tend to hold Ash for Sunvine Sowing, which I think is very correct, because Sowing turns off like 3, if you Ash it, turns off 3 bodies. And you're going to see that happen right here. My opponent doesn't have an Ash for it, and we're just going to go Twin is going to bring out Seed, and Dryas is going to bring out Thrasher. So just like that, 3 free bodies off of 1 card. And then we're going to go into Jasmine. I'm just, giving my opponent a refresher, and there's the Nibiru. I think this is a pretty good spot to go ahead and hit me with the Nibiru, but of course I am going to negate with the Rikka Princess by shuffling itself back into the deck and tributing a plant I control, and that is going to be the Petal, being the expendable plant on the field. Then we're going to go ahead and link into Dryas, link into Healer, and then we're going to activate Healer effect, targeting the Dryas to go ahead and gain 300 life points, and attempt to go ahead and search a plant out from the deck because of Jasmine's effect. If you gain life points, add a plant monster. Pretty nice effect to have in a plant deck. So now at this point, I'm trying to figure out how I can establish the standard combo right now, through the hand traps that I've had to play through, at least the one hand trap so far. And having already used a princess, at least gotten a princess out of the deck and put it back into the deck now, is going to make things a little weird, because typically for the Loki line to go through all the way, you need Seed plus a Rikka monster, which I had to get rid of the one that I had. So I had to do things a little bit differently here. I end up adding Snowdrop off of the Jasmine, and then I special summon a Mudon out of the deck with Jasmine's other effect. And that's going to go ahead and give me access to Con. And importantly, I like to, in this combo line, make sure I don't special summon Mudon via her own effect early. I like to hold that to use it as a way to tribute Strenna. That tends to be like the most effective. So I do have a copy of Glamour in hand as well. And I'm debating, whether or not I want to use it to search 1 or if I want to use it to search 2. And again, I'm trying to figure out a way to get enough bodies on field that I can make level 4, so I can make 1 Strenna, tribute it off with the Mudon, get the Hyperiton on field, and be able to make a second Strenna, so I can have something impactful to tribute on my opponent's turn for a Teardrop. So I decided to go ahead and activate Glamour, tributing the Dryas for 2, summoning Primula. It does act like Salamangreat Gazelle, which is kind of funny. Like if you go Sign Up Mining, discard Jaguar, add Gazelle. Gazelle sees the Jaguar hitting the grave. It's the same thing here, same concept. Primula will see the monster being tributed. And then we're going to activate Princess's in-hand effect now to special summon itself, going into the first copy of Strenna. Now, I guess I could have, see, this was the issue. I could have summoned, Snowdrop by tributing the Mudon, bringing out Princess, and then making everything level 4, and then trying to overlay. But then again, when I summon the Mudon back to the field, I don't have 2 level 4s in the field anymore. So that's where things got a little tricky. So I go to Strenna first, attempt to add back the Lone Fire. And the Lone Fire is nice because it can become anything I need it to be once I get it on the field again. And it's not a once per turn. It's a soft once per turn, but, we can use it again if we get it on field. And my opponent decides to Ghost Ogre here. I think after this game, he said he definitely should have Ogred the Princess, which I think was definitely the right call. I could have also not have played into Ogre by just summoning out Petal and then Glamour searching the Princess that way and played around Ogre completely, and then really not give him a chance to Ogre anywhere else. So we're going to go ahead and link into the Melius. Melius brings back the Seed, and going into the Bengalancer. And now this is the only way I was able to think of after he Ogres the Strenna to be able to get another Strenna on field and also get Bengalancer. So Snowdrop's going to tribute over the Benji, and then we're going to go ahead and bring out Lone Fire alongside of it. Lone Fire effect now to bring out another level 4, since Primula is already out of the deck, and we have a Princess Engrave as well. Wanted to get Carrot Weight in the graveyard now for another sort of line for follow-up. And then we're going to activate the effective on-field effective Con to allow me to set a Rikka spell or trap directly from the deck. And now that the Ogre has already been used, I'm kind of don't have to worry about it as much. And then we're going to set the sheet. And then we're going to use Bengalancer Graveyard effect to go ahead and banish the Melius and the Healer to summon itself back. So we still end on Strenna, Bengalancer, and Sheet with 2 set Judgments through 2 hand traps. So not too bad there. And at this point, I'm just waiting for the board breaker, right? I'm waiting for the evenly match. I'm waiting for the Dark Ruler, which again, at this point would just be a 1-for-1 trade with the Benji. I'm waiting for a Harpy's Feather Duster. I'm waiting for a red reboot, something. Because I know if he starts Deep Sea Diva, the sheet can pretty much just guarantee that I win the game right then and there. He's going to go with Pot of Prosperity, banishing 6, revealing 2 Prosperity, a blue Diva, Lilybell, and Veiler. 3 of those cards are pretty much out of the question to take because they are useless right now. And he is going to take Deep Sea Diva, and I'm like, exactly what I wanted to see. He was like, you know, show me the rivalry kind of thing, joking about that. I'm like, I don't even need the rivalry for you. All I need is sheet, which you know I've got in the back line. And I was really afraid of reboot, but not so much because, you know, we were strapped with the double judgment. So we're going to go ahead and sheet, tribute the 1 Diva for cost, take the other one, and we're going to go ahead and go into the next game. He said, you know what, take it and take me into the next game. And that's exactly what we did. And something very interesting happens here in game 3. My opponent actually bricked completely, opened unplayable, and has to pass turn. The funny thing about that is the previous round when he was playing against my friend Dan, game 3, he opened unplayable as well, and he had sided out 0 engine cards. Extremely unfortunate, and he does show the camera a little bit later what his hand ended up looking like, so you guys can see firsthand. Now, once it passes over to me, right, it could be very easy to play very greedily and try to like, oh, my opponent didn't do anything, this is free, I can play and do whatever. But you know, you have to think about it this way: what is my opponent possibly bricking on if he wasn't able to play, right? What could he possibly have bricked on? And the answer to that question is hand trap. So you have to play carefully. You have to try to play around the Ashes, the Nibiru's, the Veilers, the Ghost Ogres, etc., etc. You have to try to play around those to the best of your possible ability. And I didn't start very well by doing that. I should have just normal summoned Seed. But I guess going for the Lone Fire play to get me into Petal is also nice because that gives me access to a potential monster negate. Because I already did have Princess in hand. So he does Veiler the Princess, or the Petal here. And I was like, do I want to negate this? Is there a reason to negate? No, of course there's not a reason to negate. Because if I do negate it, I lose the Petal. The Princess goes back into the deck. And I search, what, a Mudan? Or another Princess that is not live? So we just eat the Veiler. And honestly, I should have just passed right here because I literally didn't have another line of play. And I didn't have a line of play either if I normal Seed and he Veilered the Loci. Or Veilered the Dryas. I didn't have a play there either. Low-key, I think one of the best plays, and this is still bad, it's like the Carrot Weight line where you normal and get a Dryas, pitch a plant, summon it back, make Dance Peon. Try to go crazy on the mills, but again, that gets Veilered. I link into the Dryas here. This is a huge misplay. I should have left Petal on board. That way I would have had Rivalry plus at least a monster negate. And the only thing I have to worry about is him like smashersing, using smashers on the Petal. Because that would be pretty rough. But my opponent draws return and has to pass again. So right now, like now that it's got back to this point, I'm like, okay, now we're established kind of a decent amount here. And you can also see now why also linking this Dryas, or that Petal into Dryas the previous turn was a bit of a mistake. Because now the normal summonable Seed in my hand is a lot less valuable. Because I have the Dryas in my EMZ. And again, I don't know really why I did this. I just decided to tribute the Mudan. Or tribute the Petal for Mudan. I should have tributed the Dryas. That was 100% the move. Because if he had like Gamma or something in response to the Mudan in hand effect, I have no way to negate it with Princess. And almost have to work a little harder to try to get the Dryas out of the extra monster zone so I can keep playing. Which does make things a little awkward. So we're going to go ahead and resolve Mudan here. I was very quick to grab Glamour. And I was going to take that search back and go for Con. And yeah, there's my opponent's hand. Double Nib, Ash, Smashers, Pixies, Veiler. Unfortunate. I think the Smashers was his 6th card. Extremely unfortunate. Or yeah, no, that was his draw for turn on the last turn. When he had to pass a second time. So he does Ash the Glamour. You know, he might as well if I'm going to tribute to search 2. But we do negate with Princess. And we do go ahead and search out Primula and Princess. So at this point, it's about, you know, worrying about Nibiru would be the next scariest thing to have to try to walk into. So we get into Estrella, and we are going to go ahead and attempt to add back. We add back Mudan. Now, I should have flipped up Rivalry right here, but I got ahead of myself, and I was like, yeah, we're probably fine, right? and my opponent has Nibiru. And that completely caught me off guard. It shouldn't have. So I'm forced to chain Rivalry in response to Nibiru. We did have to call a judge over to kind of confirm how this works. And the ruling ended up being that if you activate a card like Rivalry in response to something like Nibiru, Nibiru will try to resolve as much as possible, tributing the field. But since Rivalry is on the board, the token cannot be summoned, since Rivalry would resolve first. The token cannot be summoned because I currently control plants. Therefore, Nibiru cannot summon, so it will stay in hand, but things will still get tributed because Nibiru, again, tries to resolve as much as possible. And then I get Strenna effect at least, and I decide to go to Teardrop here because it's a tribute, which allows me to have a Rikka on field, which is a monster negate with the Princess Engraved. I swing for 28. I also have Imperm in hand, and I think I have another hand trap in hand. It might be DD Crow, I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, I have a DD Crow. So I have DD Crow, Imperm, Rivalry, Teardrop, Princess. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 interruptions into his top deck, which has to be one hell of a top deck, and especially with Rivalry already established, it's going to make things maybe a little bit awkward. He draws Deep Sea Diva for turn, again, which is a complete dead draw now under Rivalry, and my opponent, I believe, does scoop it up here, which is super unfortunate. I hate to see games kind of play out like this, and there's the handshake, but, you know, my opponent, good sport about it. Not really much you can do, right? And it does happen to everybody at the end of the day. Just some seriously bad luck, and he did side out 0 engine cards. He had to show me afterwards. So yeah, that is gonna be the match. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did, and last but not least, a huge shout out goes to our divine level channel members who are Pony Start, Cadillacs 84, Justin Lamb, HG8 Cyber, and Mango. Thank you guys again so much for your extremely kind and generous support of the channel.